Well, I am going to college right now, but I enlisted for, it was basically a 4-year period, but they just do 8-year minimum. So whatever you have left at the balance at the end of your active period is rolled over into an individual ready reserve where you're basically on call. So I think I have a 1.5 to 2 years left of IRR.
And do you think that there's a possibility that they may call you for another round in Iraq or possibly a deployment into Afghanistan where we've seen an increase in the troop levels since this Obama administration has taken over?
It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I'd like not to speculate on something like that, but yeah, sure, it wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, that would be a real kick in the neck. Yeah, well, I mean, if you were able to actually win this thing in Texas and become a congressman, and then he said, nope, you're going to Iraq. I mean, look, it would be hard-pressed for me to not see a huge conflict of interest or a certain agenda to do something to you from stopping the awakening of people around you. Because, this is a pretty conservative state. Obviously, Austin is a little different from the rest of Texas. However, there's a lot of people out there that are just mainline conservative. They'll believe anything they hear on Hannity or anything Limbaugh tells them. How are you going to try to bridge that gap to get those kind of Texans to vote for you?
I think there's plenty of distrust out in the rural area for the larger and especially the federal government. I think there's plenty of people out there that know. Let's just focus here on the Texas level. They know Rick Perry's a scumbag, and they know Kay Bailey Hutchins is a scumbag. And when you can tell them why, then they might, they start to lend an ear. And once you open that doorway, you can start to educate them on a lot more stuff.
Well, I agree. You always try to find somewhere where there's common ground so that you can really infiltrate the conversation and say, well, that's not just the only thing. Maybe you should take a look at this. And they say, well, I didn't realize that those two things were related. And in an age now where, you can pull out your iPhone and you can bring up a PDF file of, say, the Copenhagen Treaty, or you can bring up a YouTube video of the H1N1 virus in 1976. We truly do live in the information age, and we can bridge those gaps.
I'll tell you what's waking people up right now, Jason, is that's the video of that cheerleader. You showed that cheerleader video. That stopped vaccinations in pretty much all of my circles.
No, I agree. That cheerleader video made its way into Howard Stern, and a lot of people who listen to this show know that I love morning junk radio, and I can't get enough of Stern and Jason Ellis and the likes. But when he's saying, hey, I'm not taking the shot, that effed her up good, and she was a healthy young girl, there's no way that I would do that to my daughters. That speaks to millions of people, millions of average Joes that aren't listening to Howard Stern for his politics, but are listening to Howard Stern nonetheless, and that really breaks us into the mainstream even more. I mean, when you have that economist who came on the Alex Jones show last week go on Glenn Beck the next day and mention the Alex Jones show, Glenn Beck's aware of him, but his audience may not be. And his audience may be tuning into the next Alex Jones show or the next Jason Bermas podcast or checking us out on YouTube. And we are having a huge ripple effect out there with the truth. Agreed. So now you have a year. You have just under a year to really get this campaign going. You've talked about the printable PDF contest. You've talked about the firearm that you're customizing. What are some of the other platforms that you think you foresee yourself doing in the next couple of years? Are you going to try to get in on the debates with the mainline candidates, with the mainline Republican and Democrats out there? How do you plan to attack the system?
Oh, well, I'm absolutely going to pursue debates with any of them. Especially, public debates are a must. I guess let's talk about issues I'm particularly concerned about. Incarceration is that I was preparing this morning for the show. I was thinking about talking points, things I wanted to talk about, and it hit me all over again how comfortable I've gotten with the conditions here in the United States and the idea that we have. As an anthropologist, was that the music? That his music coming on?
Yeah, we got about 30 seconds, but what are you alluding to? The fact that we have the most prisoners per person in the world.
Cage City, with private prison-owning caged lords. That whole scheme.
Well, let's talk about the private prisons on the other side and how this really is the prison house of nations.
One-man revolution. The time is nigh, the day is dark. There's only one solution, 'cause I'm a one-man
That's right, folks. If you do the math, even though the United States has about 5%, that's about 5% of the world's population, we have about 23% of the world's incarcerated in these privatized prisons where prisoners actually now call you up on behalf of Sprint and AT&T and want you to change your phone program for a mere 37 cents an hour. And when you have the corporations taking over the prison systems, they have an incentive to run slave labor of American citizens as a profit instead of going to a third world nation and having somebody in India call you up. And I think that's what you were really talking about, the disgustingness of this corporate takeover of our prison systems, Will.
It is. I just want people to know I'm not your average politician, you know. I'm not going to use an expletive there. But I've traveled over 40 countries. I've studied anthropology. I've read books and journal articles about what makes a certain people a certain way or this culture a certain way, so forth. And I try to think about what that means to our culture and our people. And the idea that we could possibly be remembered for our caged cities, that, you know, that we keep 2% of our population locked up at any given time, it's just unacceptable. You know, that we have, or rather 2 times as many people as China locked up with about a fifth of their population. China, and that's here in the United States. It's completely intolerable.
Absolutely, Will. In this short segment, this final segment, tell people some of the other positions that you're hoping to bring to the forefront of the debate.
Okay. Well, I guess what's the larger issue is that I understand that this is a question between heading towards the new Enlightenment or continuing through the medievalism that we're in now towards the neo-feudalism. And I could get into, I'm absolutely happy to talk about every single issue that's out there, but the Senate, in this last legislative session alone, proposed over 2,800 different bills and resolutions. So I don't know which ones to to get into, to focus on, but I'm for the greater idea that this is a question of liberty over tyranny. Anyone's welcome to ask me my opinion on anything, and I'm 100% honest and open, but I don't know which issues I particularly want to focus on other than getting away from globalism and interdependence and getting away from all those overarching contracts that make a medievalism.
As a congressional representative, would you vote to stop funding the war, or would you continue to fund the war? I mean, what's your position on what's going on in the Middle East, seeing you served over there?
I'm for, kind of like Ron Paul, I'm for any war that's constitutional, and it's approached constitutionally. And we haven't had one of those in a long time. So, no, if this is an unconstitutional war, then I can't fund it. I couldn't be comfortable with something like that.
Well, I'm sure that's going to make listeners to this program very happy. The website is willbratton.com, BRATTON.com, and you can find out everything about that campaign, how you can help Will, how you can get involved. And again, this is a young man that has been to 40 different countries, that has served in the Middle East, that is looking to make the world a better place, and he's becoming proactive. He's trying to do something. He's not just talking about it. He's putting himself out there as a complete and total independent. And if somehow I become a Texas resident in the next 6 months, I may go to New York. I don't know what I'm going to do after February. God knows.
You don't want to do that?
Who knows what I'm going to do? I miss New York as well. But if I'm still here in Texas, Will is going to have my full support. We're probably going to have him on the program a few times, definitely several times over this campaign, especially if he's got something where, he's got people with him, or he's protesting the war, or he's out there really just promoting the Constitution and Bill of Rights, because that's so important. Will, you got about 30 seconds to convince people to vote for you.
Okay. I just want to read a Nietzsche quote real quick. This is from Beyond Good and Evil. The unfree will is mythology. In real life, it's only a matter of strong and weak wills. And that means take responsibility for yourself and your agency. You can't be uninvolved. Just by being alive right now, you're involved. And take responsibility for that.